for another day in Bronie's world. And why the whistle? Why the party hat? Well, guys, it is 12 months this week. Obviously, it can't be today because, 12 months ago was a different date. It's been 12 months since Ben and I have been coming to you with these calls. At first, we started every week, didn't we, Ben? We did them every week.
It was a lot. That was a lot.
And I still do them every week, but on the other weeks, I don't have our gorgeous pharmacist Ben. I have other guests like Dr. Glitton. I've had Dr. Lisa, and way back in the beginning, I actually had Dr. Laura too at one point. But anyway, and Dr. Laura is coming back again sometime. So when Ben's not on, I have someone, except for last week, it was Easter, and I had to take our eldest son to Newcastle to put him on a plane back to Tasmania. Right, so today and thank you all for coming and supporting at Bronie's desk here in Bronie's world, and let's continue to help people better their health holistically. And with that, the topic for the day that I've asked Pharmacist Ben to speak on is the 4 squares of health. We've heard the 4, we've heard the 3, we talk about the 3 triangles all the time. And actually Karen Tillman's room asked for the 4 squares of health. So take it away. Now you've got to unmute yourself. You went and muted yourself.
Hi.
It's always better if we can hear you and not just watch your lips move.
Okay. Well, a couple things. First of all, thank you for everything that you've done and all the kind words, etc. I appreciate everything you're doing, Bronwyn, and everybody out there in down under, as they say. So couple things. First of all, it's the 4-fold square of health, because there's 4 points of health that we need to address. And you guys always know I'm talking about overthinkitis. We complicate things. We make things so much more complicated than they need to be, which creates a sense of overwhelm and this kind of giving up, this abdication to so-called authorities. Well, I say be our own authority. And the first thing to do if you want to be your own authority is simplify. And it turns out that health's pretty darn simple. You ever hear that song, the foot bone's connected to the, I don't know, we have that here in the United States. I don't know if you have it.
Yeah, we had that when I was growing up.
Okay, all right. To the ankle bone, and the ankle bone's connected. That's how it all works. Everything's connected to each other. And you look for clues, and then you spot clues, and that's pretty much it. And what really makes it simple is what I call the triangle of disease. You guys know I'm always talking about the 3 points. The reason I want these 3 points is because these are underneath everything, and it makes all our other health challenges so simple. If you just go to 3 points, you don't worry about anything else, just 3 points. Well, recently I decided that in the interest of simplification and our very fast-paced, soundbite-driven 21st century lifestyle, where all of us have very, we're being bombarded with information, and it becomes very extra important to simplify. I have decided to change the triangle of disease to the line of disease. So it's just 2 points. It's just 2 points. Don't even worry about the 3rd point. The 2 points, which are the digestive system and the blood sugar system. Those are the 2 points that underlie everything. Now, they are related to stress management and thyroid health. That's true. But if you just work on those 2 points, every single health challenge you can name in the way of chronic disease will begin to resolve. I'm not saying it's going to completely resolve. You may have years to go before it's completely resolved, but it will begin to resolve noticeably. And even better, the more broken down you are, the sicker you are, the more symptomatic you are, the more problems you have, the faster you'll notice results. Now, again, it's going to take a while to get everything, depending on how far down the rabbit hole you've gone. But the beginnings of it can be felt right away, within 24 hours or less, depending on how broken down you are. Now, the 2 points, the digestive system, and the blood sugar system have one thing in common. What would that be?
That would be the small intestines.
No, the digestive system and the blood sugar system are both related to food. Food.
So I was
Food.
thinking.
Food. The only thing that can really disturb the system is food. And what we have to do, really, we had two things. Number one, we got to start to respect food. We have to really, really respect it. And I'm not using that word semantically or poetically. I mean, literally, we have to respect its power over our bodies. And by that I mean over our biochemistry. And the second thing we got to do is we've got to kind of rethink food in the sense that we're all very defensive about our foods and about our food choices. Not all of us, but a lot of us are defensive about our food choices. We don't want to hear it. Blah, blah, blah. I know, eat right, eat organic, eat your veggies, blah, blah, blah. Mom, we get this kind of sense that it's sort of a do-gooder, like you're Mr. Eat Right, Mr. Good do-gooder guy. This is the kind of sense that it's sort of wishy-washy and wimpy and do good. It's not. It's powerful, powerful, powerful medicine in the sense that what you eat creates more biochemical changes than anything else you do, except for drugs, maybe. Nothing else changes your biochemistry more than food. Even the thought of food, except perhaps drugs, which are like a concentrated evil version of food. So we have to get that in our head. And if we say that the 3 points of the triangle of disease have now been condensed to 2 points, the line of disease, and all health challenges arise or emerge from that line of disease, what do those 2 points have in common? Food. So we have to start to treat our food differently. And that means eating way less of it, number one, eating much more judiciously, like paying attention to our food choices as if it was medicine, and weaning ourselves off of eating for joy and pleasure as much. There's still a joy and pleasure. You don't want to like have it completely out. But really, you'll find that once you start doing this correctly, you get joy and pleasure from a piece of fish with lemon and onions and tomatoes on it. Eventually you want to get to the point where that's as much pleasure as a Snickers bar or pizza. And you do get to that point if you start to work with supplementation, because we eat salt because we're missing minerals, we eat sugar because we're missing protein, and we eat fried fats because we're missing fat. And if you boil that down, you have fat, sugar, and salt. That's pretty much all of our problem foods right there. And now they have salt that's fake salt, this chemical salt that tricks the body into being happy. They call that excitotoxins. And those are insidious chemicals that are in Doritos and cereals and all kinds of baked goods and things that we just can't stop eating, chips especially, that we just can't stop eating. So we have to start treating our food as medicine. We have to get this thing out of our head that it's all, Dudley Do-Right. Dudley Do-Right is? It's all Dudley Do-Right there's this guy, I always tease him. I like him, but I always tease him. He calls himself David Avocado Wolf. And I always get a kick out of that name because that exemplifies the kind of archetype of like the food guy kind of thing that we all have, that sort of, we don't really like that. It's sort of distasteful. And we got to start to regard our food as medicine because it's powerful. It's a very, very powerful way to leverage health. So for food choices, you do a food diary. You stay away from foods that cause you to break out or cause you to feel tired or gain weight. You just notice things, notice symptoms. Rashes get worse. Autoimmunity gets worse. When you fast, you'll notice your symptoms go away. And as far as blood sugar goes, the only two reasons why blood sugar gets messed up, and diabetes is an epidemic around the world. Yeah. Absolute epidemic. Absolutely. And it's getting worse and worse and worse every year, but to the point where over half the world is going to have it in 10 years. Maybe they may already have half the world. Certainly half in the United States has either prediabetes or diabetes. So you've got, and that's includes undiagnosed diabetes, people who don't know that they have it, who are just have messed up blood sugar. So controlling the amount of food we eat, controlling what we eat, All of these represent super powerful strategies for our health. For number one, for lowering blood sugar. Blood sugar is the leading cause of elevated blood sugar is the leading cause of aging through glycation. Lowering insulin, making the body more sensitive to insulin. Insulin resistance is a major cause of disease, maybe the most important cause of all death. If you factor in the insulin resistance aspect of cancer and heart disease, which are the two leading causes of death, both of which are associated with insulin resistance and dysglycemia. And then kidney disease and autoimmune disease and dementias, all these are related to blood sugar issues. And then digestive issues, the toxicity that gets into the digestive system is responsible for everything, pretty much everything. So to me, simplify everything. I'm going to show you how we do this when we answer our questions. Food, digestion, stabilize blood sugar. Don't even worry about the adrenal glands and the thyroid. They'll take care of themselves. Food, digestion, and blood sugar. Okay, now the fourfold square health is the answer to the triangle of disease. It's the 4 points of health that we have to address from a physical perspective. And I have to say that because health and wellness, physical health and wellness, are multidimensional, and they involve spirituality, mentality, and emotion, all three of them. And I don't want to get into that now, but understand that there is a physical, there's a mental and emotional aspect to our physical well-being and a spiritual aspect to our physical well-being. Those all need to be addressed. I am not dismissing them or marginalizing them. If we ever want to do a talk on that, I'm happy to do it because it's one of my favorite things to talk about. But from a physical perspective, the fourfold square health addresses the 4 points that need to be addressed from a physical perspective to begin the disease process, to begin healing the disease process, to begin resolving the disease process, reversing the disease process. And the first point is to nutriate. Nutrition represents, number one, the raw materials for building the body, literally for the building of the tissue and the building of the bone, and number two, for driving chemistry, for making chemistry happen. Those are the two things nutrition does. Nutrition does. Is that right? I was saying? Nutrients do. Number one, they provide raw material for building tissue, literally building bone, building connective tissue, building blood vessels, building skin, everything. Raw materials, it all comes from the stuff we eat. And the second thing they do is they drive biochemical reactions. They push chemistry. When chemistry say driving, but basically they mean they make chemistry happen. Under conditions of nutritional deficiency, you will not be able to build and you will not be able to drive chemical reactions. So obviously you're going to be in trouble, which is why nutrition is a key point on the fourfold square health. There's two kinds of nutrients. You got macro, big nutrients, protein, fats, and carbs. We eat those by the ounces, by the grams, large amounts. Those provide calories. Those break down and are fed into energy-producing machinery in the cells, and energy comes out. Fat, protein, and carbs are turned into energy. In addition, the building blocks of protein, which we call amino acids and peptides, they have a wide range of effects on the body, from biochemical effects, initiating biochemistry, to building things, to making molecules, to producing enzymes, which drive all other chemistry. There's so many places where protein plays a role, in addition to being a source of energy. And then fats, again, there's a lot of other places where they play a role in addition to providing energy. Most importantly, perhaps, is fats, good fats, essential fats, EFAs, are used as part of the steroid hormone, used for steroid hormone synthesis, and also for the health of cells, the outside part of cells, the cell membrane, depends on fats. And then, of course, fats are used as a source of energy, not in essential fatty acids, but macro fats, the kind of fats that we get from meat or from avocados or eggs or dairy, that kind of thing. Then there are the carbs, which, interestingly, even though most of our calories come from carbs, it's the one calorie that's not absolutely, one macronutrient that's not absolutely necessary to get, and that's carbs, although the best kind of carbs are called polysaccharides. Fucoidan is a classic example of that, of a polysaccharide. It's got healing medicinal properties. Polysaccharides are found in slimy foods. Mushrooms, for example, are good sources of polysaccharides. Seaweed is a good source of polysaccharides. Anything that's got a slimy quality is going to be a good source of polysaccharides. Okra, if you ever eaten okra, I don't know if you have okra out there in Australia, that's got a slimy kind of slimy
I
feel
have
to
no
it.
idea. I'd only heard of that or read it
What?
yesterday.
You what?
Okra and
You never heard of okra?
I've
Yeah,
never heard of it. And I'm thinking, what the heck is
I don't think
that?
that it's a vegetable. Yeah, it's
Maybe
interesting.
we call it something different here, and I just
Maybe, could be. Yeah, anytime you have slimy stuff, that's polysaccharide, and that's got some very interesting properties. Then there's the micronutrients, the vitamins, minerals, and the I call them accessory nutrients, and also essential fatty acids, which I mentioned earlier, and then minerals. And we can talk about each, and I don't want to talk about each individual one now, but that's nutriate. Someday we should talk about the basics of nutrition, Bronwyn, maybe next time.
yeah.
And then
now there's two topics you've just given me for next time.
Okay. And then the third one is oxygen, respiration. I say oxygen, but also carbon dioxide is just as important as oxygen, maybe more. Some people say it's more important than oxygen. So both inhale and exhale are very important. We don't inhale and exhale anywhere near enough. Many of us are mouth breathers. A lot of us have sleep apnea or asthma or congestion, those kinds of things, food, allergic reactions that keeps us from breathing. And then inflammation inside the body will block oxygenation, and and lack of oxygen, which is called hypoxia, will cause inflammation, which will cause more hypoxia, which will cause more inflammation, and on and on and on that goes. And then you can't really breathe. Yeah, you can't really breathe your way through that. I'm sorry, hang on just a second. Hang on just a second. Hey, can I call you back? I'm on a Zoom call. Okay. Sorry about that. So it's a vicious downward spiral. And so you can't breathe your way out of that necessarily, but you can take care of inflammation. The most likely cause of inflammation is something getting into the body. Food again. That's the most likely cause of inflammation in the blood is food and reactions to food. Then the third element, which actually is related to oxygenation and respiration. Correct oxygenation has a calming effect on the body. And the next 2 points are movement and rest. The body likes movement. It likes action. It's born to run. It wants to move. It wants to do stuff. It doesn't want to do a lot of stuff. It doesn't want to push it. That we have to kind of make ourselves do. But the body feels better when it's in movement. When our bodies move, we generate electrical charges in the body. Electricity is generated like one of those generators you have at home where you like either use your foot pedals or to generate electricity, or your hand crank to generate electricity. That's how the body works.
Like a car,
Like a car, like the old cars. Yes, exactly. That's how the body works. So it really enjoys movement. Now, you also want to push it past its comfort zone a little bit too, if you want to do it right. You don't have to go to the gym and have be like some bodybuilder working out 2 hours or 3 hours a day. It could be it could be a couple minutes. It could be just walking up and down the stairs a few times. If you're morbidly obese, you could still walk up 2 steps. And then the next week you're doing 3 steps, then 4, and then 5, etc. So movement's very, very important. And while the body loves movement, it likes movement in bursts. It likes bursts. They call that, there's a form of exercise, I don't know if you've heard of this stuff called high intensity interval training. Have you heard of this? HIIT, high intensity. It's big here in the United States, where you just sprint for 20 seconds. Instead of going for a long run, you sprint. Then you rest, and then you sprint. The body likes that because while it likes intensity, it loves rest. But it only loves rest within the context of intensity. It doesn't love rest all the time. It doesn't love rest. You may think you like to rest, but in the long run, there's issues, mental health issues, there's physical health issues that are associated with this sedentary lifestyle. And you probably heard sedentary lifestyle is the new smoking, because we're all having sedentary lifestyle. So the body likes rest, meditation, sleep, naps, muscle relaxation. The body loves that. That activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the nervous system associated with healing. So balancing out movement and rest, and that's the fourfold square health. Nutriate, respirate, move, and rest. Fourfold square health. If you want to focus, and again, this is physical only, but from a physical perspective, that's all you got to worry about. Nutriate, respirate, move, and rest. Nutriate, longevity. Well, let me just say one thing. Nutriate, longevity products, smart eating, Respirate, get a breathing app called My Calm Beat, or another one called Breathe, B-R-E-E-T-H-E. There's a few of them probably. You can just Google, you can just search for breathing apps on your iPhone or your Android or whatever it is, and then use an app. Wim Hof breathing is great. I do Wim Hof breathing once or twice a day. That's you can go on YouTube and look up Wim Hof breathing. So breathing is super duper important. And then movement. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be just walking around the block, but make sure you put a little bit of stress on your body, get past your comfort zone. Not just a regular walk, but if you don't want to do that, at least a regular walk. And then lots of long, luscious rest and relaxation, meditation, hot tubs, massages, naps, back rubs with your spouse, foot rubs with your spouse, anything just to relax. It feels so good. You know what? We carry a lot of tension in our face and in our jaws. This is the strongest muscle in the body, the masseter muscle. We carry a lot of tension. Just relaxing your face can go a long way towards telling the body it's safe and activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Before you go to sleep, try relaxing your face muscles. You got hundreds of muscles in your face. We never think about them. They're always tight and tense. So we don't really concentrate on relaxing them. You can relax your scalp. You can relax your ears. You can relax all the musculature in your face. And it's incredibly, incredibly relaxing. And then you can work down all the way to your toes from, right down your body. And that's another one. What's that?
Ben, I'm also a certified infant massage instructor.
Very nice. I like that.
It is. And I teach people to massage their babies right from birth.
Love that.
And
that's awesome.
That's
a very cool thing.
And you can use those methods all the way for the rest of
their
life.
Absolutely. 100%.
We start with the feet.
Yeah. Start with the feet.
And moving up.
Yeah, absolutely. You should start with the feet. Absolutely. Yeah, the face is very underappreciated though. Nobody really appreciates the tension.
Great exercises for the face.
Yeah, the face is important, and especially for wrinkles, for helping.
That's why I don't have any.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe for improving circulation in the face. Contraction causes vasoconstriction, deprives the face of precious oxygen and nutrients. Anyway, that's the fourfold square of health to go with your triangle of disease. Now the line.
Ben, getting back to the infant massaging, and this applies across everything, massaging itself. The parent, it also helps the parent's blood pressure to drop, to level out. So if they've got
the massager, not just the massager,
anxiety or postnatal depression, it actually helps with all that as well.
Yeah. The massager.
Yeah, so the massager.
The massager
just as important to them
as the massagee. Yes, that's absolutely true. I always get a kick out of in the Bible it says, love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? Well, I always get a kick out of that because I always think that when you love your neighbor, your oxytocin goes up, your cortisol drops, your serotonin goes up, your dopamine goes up, your prolactin drops, your good hormones go up when you love your neighbor. So when you love your neighbor as you love yourself, you're loving your neighbor because you're loving yourself. It's like you think you're loving your neighbor, but you're really loving yourself from a biochemical standpoint. All your love hormones are being increased, and the opposite is also true. When you are angry at somebody, they don't even feel it. They don't even know. It's your cortisol that goes up. It's your prolactin that increases. It's your immune system that's suppressed. It's your heart function that begins to be impaired. So it's like, there really is, from a biochemical perspective, it's really all about us. It's all the biochemical changes that occur in us that make our connections or our relationships or our interactions with other people what they are. It's our chemistry that's doing that. And we want to respect the interaction, because that's another great way to control your chemistry. When you're kind and gentle and loving and sweet and nice, it's your chemistry that goes up. When you're a jerk and you give, mean and nasty and jealous and whatever it is, it's your biochemistry that is impaired or that suffers.
Absolutely. Then that's spot on. I don't know what we saw there.
All right.
So
I got some questions here. I hope that was
not. We have some questions, and I'm going to. I sent you ones from Gracie, who has struggled to get on the last couple of weeks. She's tried to get on, and I don't know what her issue is.
What did Gracie? Okay, I don't know. I got a few questions here from you.
Yes, and they're both from Gracie. I would love you to address those first, please, before we go
Find them.
to the room.
You see here, Gracie.
1 and 2.
Let's see. Hi, Ben. Would love to hear you talk on the floor. Full square health. We heard you trying.
Yeah,
From Gracie. A lady with adrenal adenoma protein, adrenal adenoma and protein in the urine, had from 12 years after third child, throat's not active on her right side internal lump. She's got a lump on her. She's got cancer of the adrenal glands. It sounds like cancer is no outlier to or exception to what we just talked about. Insulin is one of the major factors that all cancers have in common. Hyperinsulinemia, insulin resistance, and blood sugar hypoglycemia, or low blood sugar and high blood sugar. These are very common in all cancers. And it makes sense when you understand that insulin is a growth substance. It makes cells divide. And sugar is a fuel, especially for cancer. So it makes perfect sense that when the body loses control over insulin and sugar and blood sugar, a malignancy can happen. And then the second thing is the digestive system. The toxicity that gets into the bloodstream through a leaky gut, especially histamine and something called LPS, as well as food particles, anything that activates the immune system, can also lead to malignancy and cell distortions and mutations. So it's the same thing. There's nothing special about it. Now, if you go to a doctor, and I love my doctor friends, and there are some beautiful human beings who are doctors. Their job is not to make you feel good. Their job is not to give you a great quality of life. That's not their job. Their job is to get rid of the damn cancer. That's their job. Now, that's not a bad thing. The problem is cancer does not spring up out of nowhere. It's not like, oh, shoot, I got to get this. Sorry, guys. Hey, Nicole, I got to call you back, okay? I'll call you right back. Bye. It's not like the cancer just appears out of nowhere. It's not like, a little leprechaun shot an arrow at you from nowhere and you're minding your own business and, oh, I got cancer. Cancer is the end result of bodily duress, of stresses in the system. Let me say that again. That's so important. When we get cancer, we don't know what the heck's going on, and we're led to believe there's going to be a war on cancer, and it's the bad guy, and it's some enemy. Cancer is the way a cell and the body handle duress, constant and chronic duress. Cancer cell, I know I said it before, but it's really important to understand this. A cancer cell is a cell that doesn't know what else to do. It's at its wit's end. It hasn't been fed. It hasn't been oxygenated. It's been swimming in an ocean of its own toxicity. It has no other way to go except to revert back to carcinogenesis, which is from a cellular perspective, a cancer cell is like a supercell. A cancer cell is like the Incredible Hulk. You ever remember the Incredible Hulk? He goes, "You wouldn't like me if I'm angry," he says, and that's like a cancer cell. You're not going to like me if you make me angry, and that's really what it's about. And so what we have to do is we got to go backwards and change the environment that the cancer grew in by being very kind and gentle to the body and providing it with the nutrients it needs in abundance, with oxygen it needs in abundance and carbon dioxide, and make sure 100% that you are keeping the poison out of your body. Cancer lives in an acidic environment, and acids represent toxins and poisons. Sugar represents toxins and poisons. Processed food represents toxins and poisons. And most ironically and interestingly, prescription drugs represent toxins and poisons. All of these put a burden on the body. They put a burden on cells. So keeping the toxins out. And really, it's as simple as that for everything. And cancer is no different, except for cancer is like a switch that turns on. So when you have cancer, it's a little trickier to reverse it. And sometimes, depending on how fast you're acting, reversal is not possible, depending on how far along the thing has progressed. However, you can begin to feel better. And so whether or not your cancer reverses or you get cured for cancer, using these strategies will help you feel better, give you more energy, less pain, better thinking, and a better attitude and a better mood. It'll give you a win. You know, you got to have wins. When you have a health challenge, for a lot of people, I don't know if you guys can relate to this. You know, if you have some of you may not have severe health challenges, but when somebody has severe health challenges, they haven't had any wins. They've just had losses.
I found that with my fibromyalgia.
Right? You just have losses and losses and losses. Giving your client or giving yourself a win is really helpful. So whether or not this cancer reverses or not, all those things we do will help the patient feel better. And that alone makes a big difference in their biochemistry, not to mention their psychology. Okay, so
yeah, which leads then into the second question that Grace asked on that particular one. Does collagen feed cancer cells?
Let me explain that. So you got a cancer cell.
Mm-hmm.
The cancer cell lives in the matrix. The matrix is, remember the raisin bread? Remember my raisin bread analogy? The matrix is the bread. The cancer cell or a cell is a raisin. It lives in the bread. One of the brilliant, I said cancer cells are super cells, right? They're built to survive. One of the things cancer cells do is they change the bread. They have chemical tricks up their sleeve to change the bread so that they can travel around the body. That's called metastases. And one of the ways that cancer cells metastasize is by making the bread more conducive for their migration. Kind of brilliant in an evil way. This is the kind of brilliance these cells have. Their cancer cells are brilliant cells. I mean, they're built to survive. And so this is why working on the environment is so important, because they're very difficult to kill just by targeting. That's why chemotherapy is so notoriously unsuccessful. So the bread that's being distorted is largely composed of collagen. And the changes in the collagen that are being caused by these brilliant cancer cells are associated with migration of cancer cells, metastases. And there's a lot of literature about this, and scientists are studying this. So, because we don't understand health that well as lay people, when people hear collagen, they think collagen supplements. Collagen supplements are not collagen for your body. They're not collagen in your body. A collagen supplement goes into your mouth, into your stomach, and gets broken down into pieces. And then those pieces get rearranged into different components. Some get used for making collagen, some get used for making peptide hormones, some get used for making detoxification molecules. They get used for different things. When you're eating collagen, you're eating the building blocks of collagen. It's not like you eat collagen and it goes into your collagen. That's not what happens. The collagen you eat doesn't get turned into your collagen. So yes, it's true that collagen in the extracellular matrix or the bread will facilitate migration of cancer cells, but that doesn't translate to when I eat collagen, that's going to cause cancer or it's going to make my cancer worse. Those are two separate ideas. Those are apples and oranges. One is the collagen in the bread that is transformed by the chemicals in a cancer cell, and the other is nutritional supplementation that gets broken down into its components, some of which get used to build your collagen, and some of it get used to do other things as well. So they're completely different. There's no connection between the two.
So as our collagen peptides, for example, is
In fact, it could be the collagen peptides actually will support, may actually have some anti-cancer benefits by the collagen peptides. It's possible. I don't know. I can't say that for a fact, but there's biochemical reason to believe that's the case. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What you're saying?
So it could possibly be used as a rebuilder to.
Heck yes. Heck yes. Absolutely. You want strong bread. You want a strong extracellular matrix to be able to resist this chemistry that's associated with the cancer cell. Cancer cells are making chemicals that are distorting the bread. So anything you do to support a healthy bread is going to be in your interest. if you have cancer. So the opposite could definitely be true, but it's certainly not the case that eating collagen is going to make your cancer grow. That's not what the relationship between collagen and cancer cells are all about. Nothing to do with supplemental collagen. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Because I think Gracie was actually meaning, can she recommend the collagen peptides, for example, to this lady?
Now, listen.
To help her.
Doctors don't know what I just told you. It's unlikely that any doctor knows any of this because doctors are like regular people. They read the internet and they listen to their neighbors and they believe their professors, what they heard in medical school. And, they have these memes, these ideas, these belief systems. It's a rare doctor who's a chemist or a biochemist or who understands biochemistry. Some do. They're definitely out there. There's definitely brilliant MDs for sure. But your average MD is not a biochemist and isn't going to understand this and gets his new information the same way most other people do. Which is from TV and the news and internet memes. Did we talk about the niacin study and the intermittent fasting study that came out a couple weeks ago? Did we talk about that?
No, I don't think we did to the full effect. We have talked about niacin before.
No, there's a study that came out. A study came out a few, maybe 2 months ago that said that high doses of niacin might cause heart disease. That's what the headline said. So everybody's freaking out now about niacin and heart disease. Well, we'll deconstruct the silliness of that news meme and that so-called study if you want on our next Bronwyn and Ben episode. But the reason I bring that up is because there's information that purports to be accurate. It's in the New York Times, or whatever, the Melbourne Times, whatever you read out there. It seems to it purports to come from a you would think would be an accurate and authentic source, but it's not, because clickbait and headlines and sexy, catchy, compelling news tags, they get attention and they're all doing it. So niacin does not cause heart disease. And there was another one that came out of intermittent fasting. People had a higher rate of death when they practice intermittent fasting, more silliness. So we can talk about that next time.
Okay. Anyway, now we've got 3 topics.
Okay, so
we'll be right for the next 3 episodes.
All right. So what else?
So we have Tony Gordon on. Not sure if she can unmute where she is because she's usually in Karen's room. Yeah, there she goes. She has a question for you on vertigo.
Tiny.
Hi, Ben. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well everywhere else, but I've got
Except you have vertigo.
What?
It's
a sudden.
No, listen, Tony. as Bronwyn says, tiny. I
don't say tiny.
That's what she said, tiny.
It's okay.
Tiny. I love the way you guys talk. Anyway, listen, Tony, you don't just have vertigo. Nobody just has vertigo.
Thank you.
Okay. What's that?
She said thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Nobody just has vertigo. Not how the body works. Okay. Vertigo is caused by inflammation in the inner ear. Inflammation in the inner ear. There are many causes of inflammation, but it usually involves a molecule called histamine. That's why if you take drugs, they'll give you a drug that is a antihistamine. They may have given you meclizine or something like that, right? I don't know if they have.
I've been on antihistamines for over a month.
Well, you know what I do for a living, right?
Yes.
You know what my background is, right?
Yes.
Okay. So histamine is a marker of inflammation.
Right.
The problem isn't the histamine. The problem is, why is the histamine there? What's causing that histamine release? Histamine is a protective molecule. It initiates defensive responses. It causes things to happen. It makes you alert and anxiety, ready to roll. It tells the body there's an emergency. Histamine can come from many sources, but the most important source, given the last hour that we've been talking, where do you think the most important source of histamine in the blood is from, or in the body is from?
Food.
Digestion, leaky gut. Okay? So I don't even need to ask any questions because I've been doing this for so long. I can tell by looking at you, you have a leaky gut issue. Okay. And I can tell you more about your way your body is functioning than I would ever do in public, but we could do it in private sometime.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because it's a syndrome. It happens it's a constellation of symptoms that are associated with one root cause. And this is so important to understand this. It's a concept. It's a philosophical concept that we have to understand. You have a constellation of various things that can go wrong with the body, from vertigo to heart disease to autoimmunity to dementias and Parkinson's to nerve problems to leaky what do you call it? Restless leg syndrome. You can have a whole zillion of these, but they come from one basic place. In physics today, there's a concept called simplexity. Have you heard of this?
No.
Simplexity? Simplexity says, it's a physics concept. It comes from systems theory and physics. Simplexity says that the most complex forms come from the simplest building blocks. Simplexity, okay?
Yep.
So that's how you want to think. And this is so beautiful because you'll cut everything off with one fell swoop, you know? And that's what you want to do. Why dig around go to a GI guy and an endocrine guy and a dermatologist and an OBGYN and this, that, and the other? Cut it off, right? The head of the snake, as they say, you know? And that is food and digestion, okay? And you got to know, because I know, I could tell. So you don't have to say anything, but just in your head, you can nod in your head that you have digestive issues and long-standing ones. Long-standing, right? You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Yep. I'm not Psychic Ben. I'm Pharmacist Ben. This is, okay. I'm telling you, this is how it works. This is how it works. You can do the same thing. Once you understand how it's all connected, the leg bone's connected to the knee bone. You know what I'm saying? It's all connected, and that's the way it goes.
Yes.
So vertigo is inflammation. Inflammation is a defensive response to an attack. Something's attacking your body. Histamine is involved. Histamine comes out through a leaky gut. It may be other bacterial components, pieces of bacteria from your intestine. You likely have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which we've talked about in the past. So work on your intestine. Not only will you take care of your vertigo, and maybe quickly, maybe like within a day or two, once you figure this thing out. I can't promise that, but it's conceivable that that can happen. But you will definitely start to feel better in all ways and add years to your life and reduce your risks of worse chronic diseases. And God forbid, there's all kinds of horrible things that can happen. So, right? So you can nip all of it in the bud, cut the head of the snake, and you'll take care of all of that. All right?
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. God bless you.
Same to you.
All right.
Now,
who's next?
Thank you, Tony. Now, in the comments, we have a question from Michelle who had to jump off. Can you see that, Ben?
You know, I should also tell everybody, when we talk about digestion, I-26, and I know Kevin is very hip to the I-26. I-26 is like a godsend for SIBO. And then also collagen peptides and collagen help build a strong intestinal lining for people who have leaky gut. Collagen peptides and also fucoidin, the Fucoid Z, and glucogel caps. And don't underestimate the importance of digestive enzymes, the ultimate enzymes for SIBO, because enzymes help kill bacteria. And enzymes, in addition to helping process food, also have anti-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory benefits that can benefit the leaky gut patient as well. So focus on the digestive system by food elimination, and then by using all the supplements we talked about. In fact, now that I think about it, there's a healthy digestion pack I saw. Did you see that? The healthy digestion pack?
Yeah.
And so that has a lot of the stuff we talk about. And Dr. Joanne Conway has forgotten more about digestion and the digestive system than I'll ever know. So use Dr. Conway as an expert in all this, because she's awesome.
Yes. So back to Michelle's question. This guy, Doug, he's been experiencing numbness in his hands to the point where he can't feel his razor when he's shaving.
Well, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. That could either be a nerve thing or it could be a blood thing. I would, again, we should have to ask what else is going on, but usually it involves blood sugar. That sounds like a blood sugar thing. It might also involve, it probably does also involve some element of malnutrition or malnourishment. So what I would be doing, is he on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine?
I'm trying to read that.
Pound the BTT. Electrolytes, B vitamins. His hands are numb all the time.
Well, that's what it seemed to say. And also his legs are weak and he has difficulty getting up off the floor.
No, that's not good.
He's 70.
That sounds like a heart problem. That sounds like a heart issue. And it could involve blood sugar too, but it probably does involve blood sugar at the base, but right now it sounds like a heart issue. He has to have that checked. That's not I wouldn't just give him nutritional supplements to take care of that. Although the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the healthy brain and heart pack would help him, and he should probably be on that. But I would have that checked out for sure.
Yeah, because he's got
muscle
pain in that as well.
That sounds pretty serious.
Yeah, I think so as well. Okay, now Karen, did your room have more questions? Or does anyone else have a question? Put your hand up. I think someone's coming up from Karen's room.
I see some intrepid.
Oh gosh, they moved just as I went to spotlight. Give me a second. Give me a second. There we go.
Hi there.
I'm Andreas. How are you?
I'm doing good. What's your name?
Andreas.
Andreas. Have I talked to you before? Your name sounds familiar.
You have.
I think one time before, yeah.
On the phone or here?
No, here.
Oh, here. Okay. What's going on, Andreas?
Not too much. I'm actually being on the supplements and the program. I'm improving a lot. I just have a pain that seems to go down from I feel it in my side, and I feel it up the
back up off the back away from the camera and show me.
Just from here, like from the liver side.
Is it a muscle pain, like a tightness, or is it inside in the viscera?
It feels like it does feel tight, but it radiates up into my back.
Yeah, that could be a lot of things. It could be one of the digestive health issue, an intestinal issue. It could be a lot of things. Do you have any acid reflux or anything like that?
A little bit.
Yeah, it might be there might be an association there. It does sound like a digestive health issue. It sounds like that's in your intestine. And there are nerves that run to the shoulder, so that's not a surprise necessarily. I think also
a gallbladder cleanse.
Oh, I was about to say it could also involve your gallbladder.
I felt a lot of relief when I did a gallbladder cleanse.
Yeah, there's a nerve that runs from the gallbladder to the shoulder. Do you have when you eat fatty foods, do you notice anything when you eat fatty foods that would involve the gallbladder?
Yeah, really fatty I tend to feel more sluggish. Yeah, I tend to.
Pay attention to how your body responds to fatty foods, because it does sound like it could be a gallbladder thing or an intestinal thing. It's hard to say in that area, but it does sound like something's going on. And it's hard to say just from your description of it, but it could be something definitely something you want to pay attention to, especially if you're noticing other symptoms like heartburn.
I did get I guess I was told I had fatty liver years ago.
Yeah. Did they tell you you had diabetes? You know about diabetes or insulin resistance or anything like that? Did they tell you about that?
He told me that my blood sugar levels were 10.2 at one stage, but I reduced
your hemoglobin A1C. Your hemoglobin A1C.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So here's the deal. You really have to get that blood sugar under control. If you want to get on some nutritional supplementation, get on the healthy blood sugar pack. Throw in the ultimate niacin. And then if you notice that there's any issues with foods, you should start paying attention to what foods are problematic. And I would also be doing the ultimate enzymes, which contain bile in them, bile salts, which will help you with your gallbladder. And then
a supplement that I'm taking called Tudka. And
spell
I ask you, TUDCA.
Tudka. I don't know what that is. Is that Australian?
No. It's a worldwide supplement. It originally was synthesized from bear bile.
Bear bile. Oh, okay. So it's a form of bile. I'm going to look it up here real quick. Tudka, huh?
TUDCA.
Oh yeah, you're right. Tudka. I never heard of it. Let me see what it is. Tudka. Tudka. Advanced Tudka. Oh, it's yeah. You know what it is? You want to know what it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Torourso deoxycholic acid.
Yeah.
That's Tudka. It's an acronym. Can you say that, Bronie?
No.
Torourso deoxycholic acid. So here's the deal. It's a piece of bile. It's a component of bile. It's a form of it's not a bile is a very complex substance. It has a lot of components to it, and this is one of the components of bile. So keep taking it. I would keep taking it. It's not going to hurt you. And then I would take the ultimate enzymes too.
Yeah, I'm taking the blood sugar pack. It's got the what's that? It's chromium and
vanadium. Chromium, vanadium. Yeah,
that helps.
And also there are things in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, especially the B vitamins, that are very important for blood sugar, but we don't think of it about it that way. So make sure you're using the Beyond Tangy Tangerine regularly, in addition to the sweeties.
Okay.
So I would do the healthy. I would definitely get on the healthy blood sugar pack, the ultimate enzymes as well, and then if you might even consider the Nightly Essence probiotics too.
Should I throw in some niacin as well?
Niacin definitely is a good idea. Yes.
Okay, been doing that.
Thank you so much, Andreas.
Right. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, appreciate it. Take care, buddy.
Karen, is there anyone else in your room that has a question before we move to anyone else?
Karen, yes, I have memory. Yes, so Michael is coming to the.
G'day.
Michael.
What's up, Michael?
I know you've spoken about kidney stones before.
Yes.
But is there any way of reducing them?
Yes, of course. First of all, drinking more water for sure is one way. Number two, I mean, you're gonna hit me. You're probably feel like hitting me on the head with a baseball bat. But listen, stones are a sign of saturated blood. Blood that has got a lot of stuff in it, and that means intestinal. Also, fructose, fruit sugar, is behind a lot of stone formation, uric acid crystals and such. So keeping your fructose down. Fructose is fruit sugar. It's handled by the body differently than glucose. Fructose, fruit sugar, is actually not just in fruit sugar, it's also in regular table sugar too, is behind a lot of problems with stones, with kidney issues, and with liver issues, all of which are likely to be occurring with you. So keeping your fructose and your sugar down is also important. You very well, if you've been to a doctor, he may have already diagnosed you as pre-diabetic or diabetic, correct?
Yeah, I've been a diabetic for a while.
Well, I'm not psychic, Ben. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You know, I'm telling you, that's how these things work. You know, okay. So consider it a sugar issue.
Yep.
And then ultimately, you might want to consider it to be a digestive issue too, if you want to cover all your bases. But for now, your blood sugar is what you want to really be focusing on, especially if you've already been diagnosed that way.
Yeah, well, I had a blood test the other day, and I'm 6.5.
Okay, so that's your hemoglobin A1C. That's a measurement of glycation. But here's the problem. You want to know about your insulin as much as you want to know about your sugar, and you don't really know about your insulin. Because insulin has its own spectrum of adverse reactions. Insulin will cause problems on its own. So you may have your sugar under control, but it may be because your insulin's high and you don't know that. And you may be running towards insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome, all those things. So continue treating yourself like a diabetic is the bottom line, and really, really pay close attention to your intake of sugar, especially fruit sugar.
Yep.
Okay? All right.
So sugar from natural fruits.
Sugar from natural fruits. You know, a tiny little bit of fructose is not bad, and a tiny little bit of fruit's not bad, because fruits have other things in them. But you just don't want to be careful about a lot of fruits. A lot of fruit juice, for example, is a problem. And also something they call, you may have heard of this, high fructose corn syrup, which is found in a lot of processed foods. That's also a big problem. So you got to be kind of be an ingredient reader, but really that's where you want to be focusing. Healthy blood sugar pack if you're not on it already, and then ultimate niacin. I would throw that in. You might want to throw the fucoid Z. That's where your problem is in the sugar.
Yep.
Okay? Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So on
Thank
the
you.
subject of fruit, are
Yes.
there some fruits that have more natural sugar than others?
Have more what?
Natural sugar than others?
Yes, the sweeter ones, the ones we love the most. Honeydew, watermelon, mangoes, things that are super sweet. If you're going to do fruits, the best ones are the more tart ones, that have more acids, more medicine, more bitters. The bitters are the medicine. The sugar's not the medicine. The bitters are the medicine. And the bitters are the reason why, today fruits have been being bred to have the bitters taken out of them. And so that they're much sweeter. So the fruits we eat today, they've been genetically modified over, thousands of years probably to be sweet and to have less bitter. But the bitter is the good stuff.
Someone needs to jump off now, and I can't quite see it.
All right. Well, I got to jump off too, Bronie.
I've got one more about
hang on.
memory. Yeah,
Do you have one more? One more?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do one more.
Good morning, Ben. My
Good
question is
morning.
about basically the brain function, the memory, focus,
100%.
all the
As you get
stuff.
older, you mean
Yes,
like
I'm
age related?
70, but I'm 70.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. 100%.
Finding, I can't find the right words. I've forgotten.
I got
it's
it.
not-
100%. Get on a basic nutrition. First of all, you want to get on a basic supplement program, Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. You want to get your basic nutrients. That's first and foremost. Secondly, you want to figure out if there's any toxicity that's getting into your blood through the digestive system, or liver toxicity or kidney toxicity. That would involve blood sugar. So you have to address digestion and blood sugar also, if there's anything going on there. Those need to be addressed as well. Thirdly, oxygen is incredibly important. Oxygen for the brain. So making sure you're doing all the breathing things we just talked about twice a day. I would be doing it twice a day, breathing exercises if I were you. You could either do, there's a lot of different ones. I like the Wim Hof, but you could do a lot of different ones. So Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, correct any blood sugar and digestive issues if you have them, and then your deep breathing. Longevity also has a really, really cool product called Synaptive, which is dramatically effective for brain health. And you might want to get on the Synaptive as well.
Good.
Okay?
Good. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you. God bless you. And Karen, Bronie, Karen.
I've got-
Yeah, I was going to say,
Right.
Ben, can I squeeze a question in because it relates to
Sure.
what you're talking about?
Yes, of course.
Ben, quite often people come to me and they want to go on the carnivorous diet,
Yes.
getting rid of all fruits out of their diet because of the blood sugar problem, and have
Yes.
more, like about an 80 or 90% meat and 10% of
Yes.
the other stuff. What's your
Yes.
sort of thoughts on all of that?
My thought is, I go back to the physicist Richard Feynman, who is known to be quite a cocky sort. And when somebody's told him something that he thought was ridiculous, he'd go, "That's not even stupid." Just like that. And that's what I think of when I think of the carnivore diet. That's not even stupid. I mean, that's so ridiculous, the carnivore diet. And by the way, I had a guy on my radio show, I don't know, about 5 years ago. I forgot his name. And he was one of the big carnivore diet doctors. He was an MD. I forgot his name. And I said to him, "Doc, what about the fiber?" He goes, "Oh, you don't need fiber. You could get, that's overrated, fiber. People have bowel movements without fiber." Completely forgetting that fiber gets broken down to form very important phytosterols. And then, and the carnivore diet, by the way, has no fiber. There's no fiber in animal foods. And then just about a month ago or 2 months ago, I read he completely changed his mind about the carnivore diet. And I know why, because it's just not even stupid. Not to mention the fact that the carnivore diet supposedly is a way of getting back to your caveman Paleolithic roots, because when people ate meat. But guess what? When people ate meat in the caveman days, they weren't driving through McDonald's to pick up a Big Mac. You don't have to stalk your Whopper with cheese. They were hunting, and they were, life-threatening woolly mammoth chases or runs or whatever the heck they were doing. You know what I'm saying? So the carnivore diet, when they're eating steak from Safeway and King Soopers, that ain't the same thing as your caveman ancestors. Did you get a haircut?
Yeah, just a little one.
What?
You got it a couple of weeks ago.
Kevin,
About a month ago.
All right, you got a haircut. Good for you. You look good. I'm just teasing. So
He was trying to get like you, Ben.
no. Kevin's a good looking guy. So don't compare him to me. So anyway, Kevin, so the carnivore diet, first of all, it doesn't provide vitamin C. It doesn't provide fiber, and fiber is important for a lot of reasons. It's very heavy on a specific type of protein that's muscle protein versus organ meats and connective tissue protein. So it's out of balance. You don't get vitamin C, if I already said that. You don't get vitamin C or phytonutrients, plant nutrients, which are abundant, and some of which, like flavonoids and carotenes, are like almost like vitamins. They're so important for the body. It's just a dumb way to eat. Now, that being said, meat does not have lectins in it, and meat does not have sugar in it. It doesn't have carbs in it. So sometimes people will feel better at first on the carnivore diet because they'll be getting out all the lectins, the plant defense molecules that can wreak havoc on the intestine out of the system. So sometimes people do feel better on the carnivore diet when they first start doing it. But as a way of life, it's just ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous.
But what if you add in the longevity weight to it as well?
Longevity whey protein?
Just no, as in 90 for life, your the healthy
get
start
there's phytonutrients in plants. You can cobble something together if you're careful, but there's phytonutrients in plants, phytochemicals in plants that are very important as adaptogens. They help protect cells from stressors. They don't get integrated necessarily into chemistry, but they help protect tissue and cells. And you're going to be depriving yourself of those. And those have very important medicinal and therapeutic, anti-inflammatory properties, detoxification properties, anti-cancer properties, and you're missing all that. Additionally, when meat sits in the intestine, if it doesn't move through fast enough, it putrefies. And it can completely throw off the ecology, the intestinal ecology, if it's not being digested properly. And a lot of folks have intestinal problems and it's not. So you got to be really careful with the carnivore diet. Although, as I said, if you have an autoimmune problem or some kind of chronic inflammatory problem, the fact that there's nothing inflammatory in meat necessarily, and there's no sugar in meat if you're diabetic, that sometimes works to people's favor in the short term. But as a way of life, it's ridiculous.
Cool. I just needed you to say that, Ben, to get it on the recording here, because we as you know, we say this stuff till we're blue in the face, and we just need.
I want that to make sense though to everybody. I don't want it to just be me asserting it. I want it to be logical. You know, it does, and the fact that people feel better in the short term sometimes is very misleading, because in the long run, it's definitely not an effective way to eat. Why would you deprive yourself of all the wonderful nutritional value of fruits and vegetables? It's absurd to me, you know, unless
exactly.
you know, right? There's so much powerful medicine there. All right, good. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you so much for that, Ben.
Nice to see you
down here. We'll have you down here your summer or your winter.
All right, I love that. I love that. How long did it take you to grow your hair before you cut it? How many years was it?
8 years.
8 years. Oh, did you cry? Did you feel like crying?
It was a sad day, but you know, change of life, change of things.
Jay, that's right. All right, change is good. All right.
Very well.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you, everyone, for coming and celebrating my 1 year with Ben Fuchs and the amazing Ben. And look, Ben, I am so honored to have had you.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to have been here with you as well as all my Australian friends, with a special shout out to Karen Chilman and Kevin Grundy.
Karen through.
Right.
Yeah. And we will continue this, and we will see you in a fortnight. And now we've got 3 topics. Or maybe
okay.
4 topics.
Sounds good.
One of them is choose.
Thank you. Bye,
so
everybody.
I ask you all nicely here in Bronie's world to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you are getting, not just the 4 squares of health right, but the line now, with going from the triangle disease to the line right, then you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. And thank you for coming and joining in here in Bronie Talk. Catch you tomorrow here in Bronie's World. Bye now.